Coach, we've spent a lot of time discussing the physical game and what balls to throw and what balances perhaps to use, and now it's time to learn how to play the lanes. But why do you have us sitting back here in the settee area as opposed to being up near the foul line?
Well, Benny, you know, every sport has a strategy, and that strategy is developed back here before you get up on the wood. Obviously, you have to get up on the wood to throw some practice shots, but after you throw those practice shots, you're back here taking a picture of what's my ball doing, how's it reacting on the lane, and trying to make decisions. But first we have to break that lane down.
All right, and I know you have three specific areas that you feel that everybody really needs to concentrate on. First and foremost, the first 15 feet, which is the head area.
Yes, and you throw that ball and it comes off your hand and you're watching it as it rolls through that first 15, 16 feet. And is the ball skidding? Is it continuing to spin out to the right, or is it starting to grab already and go a little left? As a matter of fact, some people, when they miss their target to the left, they don't realize if the lanes are real dry, it'll start pulling it to the left immediately. And they say, boy, I keep pulling the ball. In fact, the heads are dry. Or if they miss their target to the right and it skids out, and they say, boy, I threw it out the window. I lost it. It went to the right. Well, the lanes are so oily in the front part of the lane, the ball has a tendency to hydroplane out to the right. So we have to check that first section of the lane and watch what that ball does. Does it grab the lane early, or does it skid through the heads?
And then the second area would be from 15 to 45 feet, which is commonly referred to as the pines.
In the midsection of the lane, and we're watching again as it crosses the arrow now, right as it enters that pine section. Does it start to turn to the left? Does it start to rotate? Does it start to grab the lane? Is it still turning to the right? Is it still hydroplanes? Is it still going out? Are the pines oily? Are the pines medium? Or are the pines dry? We have to make that determination.
And then, of course, the last 15 feet, maybe the most important 15 feet on the lane, the back ends.
Yes, and you know, that starts to finish the line in your mind. What happens as the ball gets down to the back end? Did it, in fact, snap real hard? Or did it skid? Did the oil get carried down to the back part of the lane? The lanes haven't been stripped or cleaned for 3 days, and all the oil's in the back part, so the back ends are real oily, so the ball will not react on the back end. Or is it the medium reaction? You know, most people, they like that medium reaction. But if it overworks, the back ends are too snappy, then they don't want to bowl well because they don't make the adjustment. And or the opposite holds true if the lanes are real oily in the back end and their ball's not finishing, they don't make the adjustment, and that's really what keeps people's scores from increasing, is not playing the lanes.
I know you feel that the best players in the world are there because of their physical game and their ability to quickly read lane conditions. And I know you've set up a 4-shot system it's something that you could use at any bowling center, anywhere in the country, on any given lane, and within 10 or 15 minutes have a pretty good idea what's happening on those pair of lanes. So let's start with shot number 1.
Yes, shot 1, Denny, is where we move over to the right. We're using the benchmark ball.
Right.
Not the polished ball, not the wash ball. We're using the medium release.
All right.
And we're going to roll the ball to 7-pin. Now again, we're going to watch it go through the heads. When does it start to grab the lane? When it hits the midsection lane, the pines. We're reading, is there a lot of oil in the middle of the lane when we throw toward the 7? Did the ball, in fact, backslide when it hit all that oil? Or is the middle of the lane real dry, and did the ball start to, in fact, snap to the left, and did the ball hook off in a channel in front of the 7-pin? That is all set up by how much oil is in the pine. Then when it gets down to the back end, throwing the ball right to left, did it make the ball look like it even hooks harder when I throw it right to left? Or did it hit that back end and slide off? What we're trying to do is start to see the picture. What are the lanes doing? Lanes are different from morning till dark. Lanes are different in every bowling center. Lanes change right while you're bowling. Right. And you have to keep adjusting that line and keeping that line in your mind by how that ball is reacting. At all times, you're reading that line in your mind, and you start off with doing the 7-pin, reading the midsection of the lane, and then how hard is the back end's hooking or not hooking. Okay,
so now we've covered, in essence, the left part of the lane. So now shot number 2 would obviously be moved left and shoot at the 10-pin.
Yes, we're going to move to the left. We're going to, again, throw a normal release with our benchmark ball, and we're trying now to see what's the ball do when I go against the grain of the wood. Again, how much oil's in the middle when I go against the grain of the wood? And then when it hits that back end area, did it, in fact, snap away from the 10-pin, or did it slide off in the channel, or is it normal? Is it medium oil?
Now, after 2 shots, then you have some idea as to how much oil is on the lane. So at this point in time, do you maybe come up with an idea of what kind of bowling ball you want to use?
Well, you're right on target, Danny. What we do, let's suppose that we threw it the 7-pin and the ball skidded and didn't quite hook into the 7. So, boy, there's a little oil in there. Then we threw it the 10-pin. In fact, it did slide off, and it dropped off in the channel right in front of the 10-pin. Which ball would you use, the polished ball, or would you probably go to the wash ball?
Sure.
So now we're going to go to the wash ball. We've got 2 shots in. All right. See what we're doing? We're making a ball decision. We're not waiting until 6 frames into the first game to make a ball decision. We have to learn to read the lane, and we have to do it quickly.
All right, now shot number 3 confuses me just a little bit because I'm a right-handed player. I'd be thinking about picking a ball up and trying to hit the 1-3 pocket, but what you're saying is you want to stand up and try and hit the 2-pin.
Yes, and the reason for that is there's an awful lot of combinations that a right-hander would leave with the 2-pin involved.
All right, we should stop right here and say it would be the 3-pin then for the left-hander.
Exact same one. It's, if you throw the ball and it comes up a little light in the pocket, we have the 2-4-5, we have the 2-5, we have the bucket.
That's trouble.
Yeah, if we miss the head pin, it's the washout. The 2-pin is a key pin for a lot of spares in the course of an evening of play. So you have to have that 2-pin dialed in. You have to know exactly what angle am I going to use here to hit that 2-pin on the right side. So if the lanes were real oily, we're using a wash ball, and you know the ball's going to skid and there's oil in the middle of the lane, then we would probably move to the right to make the 2-pin.
Right.
And the opposite would hold true if the ball was having a tendency to snap real hard and the midsection of the lane was dry and the backends were dry and we were using the polished ball, then we would probably move a little bit to the left and play more of an inside line at that 2-pin.
And then the 4th and final shot of the 4-shot system would be standing up and hopefully hitting the pocket.
You take that line now that you've developed on the 2-pin, and you see what it is, and now you angle yourself and use that line that you have in your mind with that bowling ball to hit the pocket.
And at this point in time, now is the opportune time to maybe change a few components, whether it would be ball or wrist position or whatever, because now you're in a position where you've got a pretty good feel for what's happening out there. Now it's time to fine-tune it, and you would do that, I guess, first and foremost with another bowling ball, if you were going to make a choice.
Yes. Step 1, you throw in your warm-up shots, figure out what the lanes are doing. Are they oily? Are they medium? Are they real dry? So you make your ball choice. And number 2, now we have to find what angle am I going to throw this ball.
Right.
Am I going to throw this ball and play a little more of an out or in the midsection of the lane, or am I going to play more inside? So 1, we change balls. 2, we change the angle. Now let's say that we threw and we decided that we're using this wash ball. The lanes are a little oily. I roll the ball right up the second arrow. I'm standing about 3 boards right of center, and the ball come up just a little bit light. It didn't finish hard enough.
You've thrown a pretty good shot, and you don't quite get to the pocket. So rather than go to another ball, you didn't throw a bad shot. Maybe you make an adjustment with your wrist.
You got it.
Okay.
We're only off a couple of inches, 1.5 inches, 2 inches. So instead of having the medium wrist, now we're going to firm this up. We're going to cock the fingers a little bit. We're going to put a little more on it. Then we can also use number 4, which we call match your motion to the lane surface.
See, I think this is pretty interesting because now you're talking about movement and ball speed by and large, aren't you?
Oh, yes. What you do is it's a package. Oily lanes, wash ball, slower speed. Medium speed, medium ball, medium oil. Faster speed, polish ball, less wrist. So you practice the 3 packages so that when you go to a tournament or to league play, you already know what you want to do. It's not a physical change to throw it slower, Denny. It's a thought process. In other words, you don't say, well, I'm going to slow down my feet, I'm going to slow down my arm. All you do is slow down your thinking. You match your motion. It's a feel, and you just match it in. I think Earl Anthony was the best at that.
Okay. We've talked a lot about trying to figure out how to hit the pocket from pair to pair. The greatest bowlers in the world are strike players, but more importantly, perhaps, they're the best spare shooters out on the national tour. And I know you have some thoughts about spare shooting.
Yes, then in what you'll see, the best spare shooters, as a matter of fact, Mark Roth, one of the best spare shooters in the history of our sport. And at one time, Mark threw one of the biggest hooks in our sport, too.
That's exactly right.
But what he did is he threw a different shot for his spares. He threw the ball much straighter. He kept the speed up. He threw it real firm. And there's a couple of things you do for spares.
Okay.
First of all, when you put your fingers in the holes, don't dig them in as deep. Pull them out. Half fingers, half hook. Just set your fingers in lightly. Don't dig them in. They don't snap as hard as if you don't put them in as much. You get your fingers off the ball quicker, which imparts a straighter roll on the ball by not hanging the fingers. And then we break the wrist down. So we throw a broken wrist shot with half fingers. And we keep the speed up. Boy, you'll make those spares. And you throw the strikes, adjust to the lanes, and make the spares, and your game will improve. That's when bowling really becomes fun.